Our film begins with a talented lawyer named Caitlin who loves her job. Despite being in the final month of her pregnancy and on the verge of giving birth, she diligently goes to work every day, even though any other woman in her place would prefer to stay at home and rest for her health. While she's at the office, another woman comes to meet her. She introduces herself as Polly and mentions that she heard about an announcement from their company about giving away homes to homeless individuals. Caitlin encourages Polly to tell her more about herself, her work, and her circumstances. Polly reveals that she works as a nanny and used to work for a specific family, but unfortunately, they moved, leaving her without a place to go. During their conversation, Polly looks at Caitlin's belly and is surprised that Caitlin is so close to giving birth and still going to work. Caitlin jokes, saying that earning a living is tough, and laughs. Afterward, Caitlin leaves the office, gets into her car, and talks to her husband, but suddenly she experiences pain, and it's clear that she is about to go into labor. Later, we see Caitlin at the market buying some groceries for the house with her husband and their newborn baby, Emma. There, she unexpectedly encounters Polly again. However, she doesn't remember her because some time has passed since their last meeting. Polly reintroduces herself, and they greet each other. Polly notices that Caitlin is engaged with the kid, and she suggests that Caitlin come work as their nanny to help lighten her load. At that moment, Caitlin feels that this is a good idea and that she really needs someone to help her, so she takes Polly's number and tells her she will call her. When Caitlin returns home with her family, she discusses the situation with Megal. It becomes apparent that he is not very enthusiastic about the idea because they don't know Polly very well. Caitlin tells him that she will definitely ask about her before bringing her into their home. She actually contacts a woman named Rosanna, who used to work with Polly. Caitlin introduces herself and asks about Polly, how long she worked with her, and whether she is good or not. Rosanna tells her that she worked with Polly for 2 years and that she is a good girl, and she hasn't seen anything bad from her during that time. Caitlin feels reassured and decides to call Polly to invite her to start working with them the very next day. As soon as Polly arrives, Caitlin greets her with a lovely smile and introduces her to her daughters and shows her around the house, explaining how everything works and the way she manages the home. One important instruction among all the guidelines is that Josie must not eat anything with sugar, especially formula milk, as it is harmful to her. Polly responds that she understands, and she starts working with them from that day. Caitlin orders food from outside and includes Polly in the request, and they all have lunch together as if they are one family. Meanwhile, we see Emma arguing with her mother, telling her that she doesn't give her enough personal space. It's noted that Emma is 10 years old and storms into her room while yelling and slamming the door in her mother's face. Polly observes this and asks Caitlin to give her daughter some space until she calms down. Caitlin listens to her and explains to Polly that Emma is a good girl but very stubborn. She always wants to feel grown up and independent, rejecting any control. Polly remarks that it sounds like a tough situation, and they continue to chat for a while. Later, Caitlin measures a dress for Emma, but she doesn't like it. Polly tells her that it looks very nice, so Caitlin decides to gift it to her. The next day, Caitlin and Megal go to work, and Polly comes to take care of the girls in their absence. She brings sweets for Emma, but tells her that she can't tell her mother or father. Emma is very excited and promises not to tell anyone. Polly encourages Josie to eat some of the sweets she brought, but Emma reminds her that those sweets are not good for her at her age, and that their mother has completely forbidden them. Polly responds that a small piece won't hurt. As Josie eats, Polly shares her childhood with Emma, explaining that she often struggled to find something to eat and that her situation was very difficult. Emma empathizes with her, and they start to feel closer and develop a friendship. When Caitlin returns, she goes into the kitchen to prepare food because they have guests coming today. During this time, Polly tries to get close to Megal, but he brushes her off and heads into the kitchen to join Caitlin, who tells him that she is going to make food that will be delicious to eat. We see a person named Afterward, who has a calm presence and confidence in himself. We know that he is a colleague of Caitlin and that their relationship is close. He is with his wife, and they have dinner together with Caitlin and Miguel, and they prefer to talk about their work and their lives. When Afterward sees Polly, he feels uncomfortable around her and senses that something is off. After dinner, they all go to sleep, but Caitlin worries about her sleep due to a stomachache and keeps going back, feeling unwell from the food they had eaten. Caitlin feels guilty because she cooked the food, and she blames herself for her daughter's discomfort. Caitlin tells Polly that she tried to please them and cook well, but she failed, just as she usually does in everything. At that moment, Polly tries to calm her down, telling Caitlin that just because she does her best in anything doesn't mean she will always get a satisfying result. Caitlin relaxes a bit when she thinks about Polly's words and feels somewhat relieved. The next day, Caitlin decides to let Polly live with them in the house because she is alone and broken, without a home or family. She brings a suitcase with her clothes and moves all her things to Caitlin's place, thanking her for everything she has done for her. Afterward, Caitlin goes out with Miguel to go to work. When they leave the house and leave Polly alone with Josie, Polly throws her on the floor and ignores her, letting her cry, even though she is supposed to take care of her. She takes advantage of Caitlin's absence and does whatever she wants without supervision, showing her true colors. When Caitlin returns home, she sits with her husband in the kitchen and notices a container of formula milk thrown in the trash, which surprises her a lot since she has warned Polly several times not to use it. Caitlin goes to Polly to ask her what happened, and she finds Polly sitting with Emma in the room, playing. Caitlin asks her about the milk container she found, saying she surely didn't give it to Josie, right? Polly, surprised, says she completely forgot that Caitlin had warned her not to give it to her, and she shrugs it off, saying she won't do it again. Of course, Caitlin is very upset with Polly for acting on her own, but Emma tells Caitlin to leave the room since they were playing together, and she separated them, so Caitlin listens to her and steps out. After a little while, Caitlin notices a new guest at their house sitting with Polly and Miguel, talking and laughing together. When Caitlin enters to find out who the girl is, Polly tells her that she is her friend, and the three of them continue to hang out as if it were their own house. Caitlin feels a bit annoyed, but doesn't show it, and starts to feel that Polly is gradually encroaching on her life and imposing herself on them to the extent that she even brings her friend to the house. At the same time, we see Polly in the room, taking a box of medicine from Caitlin and swapping it. It starts again without her noticing, and at night, they all go out to enjoy the Christmas party atmosphere. Polly takes Emma with her to show her around, and when they return home, Emma starts screaming. Caitlin rushes to her, along with Miguel, and she discovers that her daughter had fireworks in the room, and because of them, the room caught fire and a lot of smoke appeared. That's why Emma was screaming, and at that moment, Caitlin realizes that Polly is behind this, and that she gave Emma those things to hurt her. In that moment, Caitlin is very upset with Emma, having reached her breaking point, and she kicks her out of the house. However, Miguel tries to intervene and calm her down, telling her that Polly didn't mean to do this and that she never intended to hurt the girl. At that point, Caitlin asks her husband if he believes her or not because she feels certain that Polly is behind everything. But Miguel tells her honestly that he feels she hasn't been stable lately and that she is the one blowing things out of proportion. He questions why Polly would do something to a young girl, especially since she loves her and their relationship is close. He tells her to reflect a bit, and she will realize he is right, and that she was wrong to kick Polly out, especially since she has nowhere else to go and considered them her family. Caitlin starts to think about his words and tries to reach out to Polly to bring her back, and she successfully gets in touch with her. As soon as she sees Polly, she runs to her and hugs her. Caitlin apologizes for what she did and takes her back home. However, it still seems that Caitlin is suspicious of Polly and isn't comfortable, and she shares all her doubts with Stuart. He tells her to leave the matter to him, and he will investigate her thoroughly to find out who she really is. Indeed, he does import things, but Polly enters and tells him that he doesn't have the right to enter her room without asking for permission. And just because he is Caitlin's friend does not mean he has the right to interfere in everything that doesn't concern him. So Stuart apologizes to her and leaves her room, but after gathering a few items that might give him information about her. At the same time, we see Caitlin reviewing the numbers on her phone and getting Rosanna's number, whom Polly had worked with before. She manages to meet and talk with her, and when she sees her, she asks if Polly actually worked for her. Rosanna stutters in her response and tells her that Polly is an orphan and poor. At that moment, Caitlin realizes that Polly never worked for her. She was just fooling her. Caitlin scolds Rosanna for writing such serious things about her and continues to upset her by saying that her kids are in danger because of this lie. As soon as Caitlin returns home, she tells Miguel what happened, mentioning that Polly never worked for Rosanna. Miguel asks how she knows, and Caitlin replies that Rosanna denied it. Miguel gets upset and tells Caitlin, "So you're leaving your hungry daughter alone over such trivial matters? Give us a break." And he walks away to avoid arguing with her, as he sees that Caitlin is being unreasonable and trying to make Polly seem bad and evil. At the same time, we see Polly heading to Stuart's house, where he greets her and lets her in. When she enters, she notices some papers and old pictures of her inside a book on his table. Stuart quickly closes the book, but Polly has already noticed it and asks him what he was doing and why he had her in mind. Stuart tells her that he found out her real name is Rebecca, not Polly, and that she was born in San Bernardino just like Caitlin, and that Caitlin's real name is Jennifer. He tells her that he knows about the loss of her entire family in a house fire when she was young. Polly confirms that his information is correct. At that moment, Stewart expresses that this situation is tragic and evokes pity for her. He tells Polly that all this happened because Caitlin caused the fire in their house, killing her father, mother, and little sister who was still breastfeeding. After Caitlin did that, she ran away to save herself, had to change her name, and moved to a different place far away. Stewart tries to explain to her that reappearing in Caitlin's life again to take revenge and hurt her won't help her at all, and while he understands all the pain and sorrow she has gone through, revenge will not benefit her. At that moment, Polly feels dizzy and tired, so she asks Stewart if she can go to the bathroom. And she tries to. Caitlin is trying to reassure Stewart and asks him if he is okay or not. But at that moment, she grabs a baseball bat and hits Stewart on the head to knock him unconscious. When he regains consciousness, he tries to grab his phone and call for help from anyone. But she sees him and continues to beat him brutally until she disfigures his face completely. Immediately after, she calls Caitlin and tells her that Stewart has been taken to the hospital. Caitlin is very shocked and rushes to him. There, she sees an officer and tries to stop him to talk to him, telling him that she knows who attacked Stewart and how. But the officer ignores her and doesn't pay attention to what she is saying. So Caitlin goes back home very angry and takes out all her rage on Polly, telling her that she knows very well that she is behind everything that is happening because Stewart was investigating her before this attack occurred, and that the attack happened while Polly was out of the house. Caitlin immediately kicks Polly out of her home to protect them from her as well, and personally goes to gather Polly's clothes and puts them in a bag for her. However, Majal comes in and stops her from doing that. During this, she sees Caitlin in front of him with her daughter in Polly's arms, so she separates them and hits Polly, warning her not to touch her daughter again. But accidentally, while she is hitting Polly, she pushes her daughter hard and injures her face unintentionally. Mayal goes to comfort her and reassure her, and he also reassures Polly about Ima, so she appears better than Caitlin, claiming she loves Ima and is more afraid for her than her own mother. At that moment, Caitlin starts crying uncontrollably, and from that moment on, she leaves the house and distances herself from them until she calms down. We see her sitting sadly about what happened, unable to stand herself, and when she takes a pill from her medicine, she notices that the pills have been swapped and realizes that Polly did this to her by putting narcotic pills instead of the medication to make her appear insane in front of her husband and children so that they wouldn't take anything she says seriously. So she gets even angrier and more upset. After a while, Caitlin goes to Aima's training and tries to reconcile with her and apologize for what happened last time. Ima accepts her mother's apology and shows her a picture she found in Polly's room by coincidence. It's a picture of Polly with her family from long ago before they all died. Ima tells her that Polly is an orphan and feels unsafe, which is why she got close to them and considers herself part of the family, not just a guest. Caitlin goes home and finds Polly still sitting there, not having left. Caitlin asks her to come in for a drink, and when she lets her in, they confront each other and talk about the past for the first time. We learn that Caitlin actually burned Polly's house and killed her entire family, but this was because Polly's father had been harassing her, so she had to do that to defend herself. However, Polly claims she is lying and that she is only saying this to absolve herself of the crime she committed. But Caitlin assures her that she is telling the truth and that she was not lying about her father at all, and that he was indeed trying to harass her and was trying to harass Polly herself, but she was too young to remember. Polly continues to deny that anything like this happened and blames Caitlin for ruining her life, forcing her to live in the streets and move from house to house because there was no place for her, and also for killing her poor baby sister. Caitlin comes closer to her, apologizing while feeling guilty about what she did, and tells her she is willing to compensate her for all the pain she felt. But at that moment, she stabs Polly with a knife in her stomach and tells her that she will live in her place, marry her husband, and raise her beautiful daughters, stealing her life completely to take revenge on her. Caitlin continues to resist the pain she's feeling and hits Polly to push her away so she doesn't die. She shoves her toward the window, which shatters with her, and she falls. Caitlin runs, drenched in her blood, to her daughter Josie's room to take her and escape. She quickly gets into the car, but Polly runs after her, jumps into the car, and keeps smashing the glass to prevent Caitlin from driving away. At the same time, Miguel arrives home and sees everything happening. Caitlin tries to move the car to throw Polly off her when another car hits them, killing Polly instantly. Miguel runs to Caitlin to check on her and apologizes for not believing her all this time, and that she was indeed right about her suspicions of Polly. After a while, Caitlin returns to her normal state, and we see Josie, a bit older now, with her in the room as she tells her stories. Today's story is about Polly and what her life has meant, as well as her death, and Caitlin is the one who has won. Here we would have reached the end of the film. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.